The crypto markets are alive and well, and they're deep in the green today. Oh, is that because Brad's going in front of the Senate? We're going to talk XRP price along with Ripple tagging one of the oldest banks out there for some RLUSD custody. Another crypto's pumping on the announcement from yesterday along with...
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
Well, looky, we got some deep green up on the screen, and H-bar fans, you're one of them sitting at 17 cents. Now, is this the market pricing in a little bit of Senate hearing optimism because Brad Garlinghouse is going to be on the mic? It's possible. We're going to talk about that and more coming up. But before we do that, you know the deal. Your comments come first because you, the viewer, matter most. JD Castino starts us off and says, Klaus, you kick ass, brother. Studying and researching crypto is boring shit, but you deliver the results in the most entertaining way. I managed to be first view in your video in the past few days. Thanks for being a rare voice we can trust. Remember, my job is bringing the news, good, bad, happy, or sad. Alan McMaster's holding out with us as well this morning. It says, just wanted to thank you for your consistency in bringing the news. Everyone, I love doing this. Like, I genuinely enjoy bringing you the news every day. That's why I do it on Saturdays. That's why I do it on Sundays. That's why I do it while on vacation. This is actually fun for me. Says I appreciate you. Thanks for the laughs. You deserve to have a good time. It's been a while. Thank you. Shane Wilkins dropping support on the channel. Mucho appreciated, kind sir. Says thanks. Good morning, brother. Where you at? I'm actually up in money. How high do you think we will go? And do you think it will start going back down? Look, history recently has told us that none of these moves hold. But you got Bitcoin close to all-time high. You got a big crypto player out there in front of the Senate. The thing is, though, is we're not going to get regs right away. So I'm kind of wondering if this is a little bit of pumperoni followed by a what, everyone? Dumperoni. But I'm being optimistic. I'm hoping we get some juice because here's the thing. If you look at XRP, right? The move for XRP has just happened here over the last couple hours. The move for Crow, though, came on the announcement of the ETF yesterday. So different things are moving at different times. Bitcoin's sitting at 109,429, ETH is 2663, XRP at 238. Well, like I said, H-bar is at 17 cents, ADA at 61.5. Let's talk about it. Crow price posts a 20% single-day rally on the inclusion of Trump's ETF. Well, that's probably because there's a bit more Crow in there. Now, there's only 5%, but it's good news for Crow fans. And hey, who the hell cares what makes you green as long as it makes you green, right? What's interesting about this is we did not see XRP yesterday move on the announcement. Honestly, there was only 2% of it that was included in the ETF, and 2% is a big nothing burger. I did the deep dive on that. But Crow, 5%, okay, again, not super juicy, but for some reason, Crow really moved on this. Is this because in relation to its volume, it's more? Think about it like that, right? Look at Kronos's market cap. 2.96 billion. XRP's 141 billion. So 5% of a big ETF is going to move a $3 billion market cap thing quite a bit more than 2% of a 140 billion market cap thing. So the math is just playing out, everyone. So kudos to Kronos players out there. Let's get into that Ripple news right away because you know what it's all about today. Brad in front of the Senate. And what are we seeing? Direct XRP price movement on that action. Love it. Ripple taps Bank of New York Mellon to secure RLUSD stablecoin with some custody action. Nice. Ripple announced today has selected the Bank of New York Mellon Corporation, BNY, the world's largest custodian bank and security service company, as the primary custody provider for their RLUSD services. This is big because Ripple just recently surpassed the $500 million market cap with RLUSD. Now, mind you, that's important because think that's all money that's been cashed in for RLUSD. This move comes as Ripple's flagship stablecoin surpasses the $500 million market cap within 7 months of its launch, operating both on the XRP ledger and Ethereum. Here's the thing, the majority of it is on the ETH chain. I think like 80% of it right now or so is on the ETH chain. Last week, Ripple applied for a national banking license in the U.S., aiming to increase RLUSD's regulatory oversight. The interesting thing about them applying for the banking license nationally, they then don't have to go for what, everyone? For the state-by-state licenses. Yeah, that's an awesome thing. BNY will serve as the primary reserve custodian for RLUSD. Here's a good quote for you. BNY brings together demonstrable custody and expertise and a strong commitment to financial innovation in this rapidly changing landscape, as well as a forward-thinking approach to digital asset infrastructure. That is coming from Jack McDonald. Yes, everyone. Juicy stuff. Now let's get even juicier. Oh yeah, by the way, I've got that announcement too about Ripple selecting BNY. So it's not bullshit. This is an actual press release, and everything you see in this video and all my other ones, they're linked where everyone... Yeah, in the ball sack. The description bag down below. Juicy stuff. All right, look at this. Ripple CEO prepares for Senate showdown. XR community buzzing over the crypto clarity push. All right, here's the cool part about this. We're seeing XRP move price-wise. But you know what's crazy about this? You're not seeing the volume move. So this is interest increased on lower volume. Look, volume is down 23% to 3.72 billion from yesterday, but the price action has gone directly up since this morning. Good stuff, everyone. In fact, the real price move started right at around 6 to 7 a.m., so about 2 hours ago from the time of recording for this video. Now, Brad went out on Twitter, and this is what he said. I'm honored to be invited to testify in front of the Senate Banking Committee this Wednesday on the need for passing crypto market structure legislation. Essentially, they're going to talk about, should cryptos be a security? Should they be a commodity? What gaps are there in the legislation? What were some of the problems? Is there a way we can foster innovation in the crypto markets rather than hamper it, kind of like in the days of Gary Gensler where players were afraid to come out? He says, thank you to Chairman Senator Tim Scott, Senator Loomis, and Senator Ruben Gallego as leaders of the Subcommittee for Digital Assets. Now, do you think there's going to be a little bit of spat back and forth between Loomis and Brad, because we know they're not best friends? That also being said, do you think Brad is going to pimp XRP directly, or do you think he's going to stick neutral? Ooh, your leadership, both with this hearing and over the years of championing the crypto industry, has been critical to getting us to this important moment. Constructive crypto market structure legislation in the U.S. is imperative in bringing about a new era of innovation and financial opportunity. My only thing is this, okay? Why are they having this hearing if they've already passed the stablecoin thing through the Senate and clarity is in the House? Does this mean that when the House, or when clarity is done with the House, when the Senate gets it, they're going to modify the shit out of it? We're going to have to pay attention to that. Now we're going to be live streaming this. Look for this thumbnail right here, a little Brad and a Senate seal with a little bit of purple background. Let's get to that crypto market. All right, overall volume for the crypto market is up 40% from yesterday to 105 billion. Fear and greed is at 52, while the altcoin index is at 27 out of 100. We touched on it already a little bit, XRP price. You should touch that subscribe button if you haven't already. But what are we afraid of? The pumps and dumps. Now, we've broken that 230 mark, which is great. But what you'll see in the candlesticks is what? Yeah, we touched that 240 action, and then we got pushed on the way down. Let's zoom into that move and see exactly what happened. Here's that run-up this morning I was telling you about, where the volume was tied to the run-up. Now look at this, though. High of 240.39, and now we've had since 3 candlesticks, 45 minutes worth of red action, pushing us to a low of 238. So it's not like we really erased a lot, but we definitely had a nice run-up and then a stop at 240. Now this move is way early, and this move is happening about an hour and a half before the Senate hearing. So you might see even more action happening during the hearing, and that's the best part. As we cover the hearing live, we're going to have the heat map up. We're going to have the chat fired up. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking XRP price. We're going to be seeing if Brad pimps XRP during this hearing, and we're going to see if any of this action continues throughout the hearing, or if we get pushed on back down, pumperoni and dumperoni style, because we've seen that has been the mood as of late. But the cool thing is this, look at this. This move to 240 is something that we haven't seen, everyone, for a long time. Look at this. Look how far back I have to scroll. This last move to 240 was all the way back May 23rd. So about a month and a half ago, we have been able now to get the gains back. In fact, if I go to that one-day candlestick, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Look at this. This is the highest we've had in a long, long time. Now, you see this upward trend? The trend is your friend, they say. But let's hope this pumperoni don't turn into a dumperoni. You jabronis. Happy motherfucking what, everyone? Wednesday. Now, the overall volume for XRP has been down in the last 24 hours, but this run up has seen a coinciding volume boost with it. Leading into the hearing, coincidence? I think not. Now, the big deal is, though, are we going to see it kind of continue throughout the hearing? That's the best part about these live streams, because we're going to be able to watch and listen the hearing, and at the same time have the heat map up. We can bring up the charts. We can see if XRP moves. We can see who's got kind of what questions, who's got what problems with this, and we'll see if this rally is able to hold, because that's what this is all about. We're starting to see the market thaw, and let's not underplay the importance of Bitcoin here. Bitcoin near all-time highs does what, everyone? Fuels the altcoin market with it. You see the doggies in the background and tails all floating around? So, with Bitcoin close to all-time highs, can it start pulling the alts with it? Can we start getting some more liquidity flowing into the market? Overall, the market volume is soft, but right now, those things that were mentioned yesterday in the ETF seem hot. Not because of that, because XRP did not rally yesterday. Why? Because it was a small inclusion with a big market cap. The math doesn't work. But Crow has a small market cap with a bigger inclusion that did work. That's why Crow pumped yesterday and XRP didn't. XRP is pumping today. Why? Because optimism that Brad's going to pimp the ever-living shit out of it, and that something juicy is going to come from DC. I'll see you there at the live stream. Choo-choo what? Choo-choo biz nachos.